Your sister Tawanda, she accused you of a romance with Toni's ex.
Which is crazy.
You know, and immediately, I mean, everybody thought it was Birdman, Tamar. Do you?
Where did that rumor come from?
When you met Birdman, what made you say, this is the perfect person for my sister?
That didn't happen like that.
Oh, how'd it happen?
He pursued her through me.
Our family, we fight really hard like every other family. It's just that ours is broadcasted, but we really love each other. So people don't understand. They'll see us on the show and we're fighting, but then they'll see us hanging out together.
Yeah.
When Tamar Braxton walked onto national television to defend herself, nobody expected her to reveal that her own sisters had weaponized her trauma for ratings. What she exposed about that dinner table accusation just changed everything we thought we knew about the Braxton family. Picture a family dinner where the cameras never stop rolling, where every word, every glance, every moment of tension becomes content for millions of viewers to consume. The Braxton sisters gathered around that table and the air was thick with something more than just sibling rivalry. This was different. This felt dangerous. And then Tawanda Braxton said the words that would set social media on fire for weeks. She looked directly at her sister Tamar and accused her of crossing the ultimate line, sleeping with one of their sister Toni's ex-boyfriends. Not in a private conversation, not in a heated phone call where mistakes could be walked back on camera for the entire world to witness and judge. The moment that episode of The Braxtons aired, the internet transformed into a wildfire of speculation. Every social media platform erupted simultaneously. Commentary channels started breaking down the episode frame by frame. Fans picked sides with the intensity of a political campaign, and within hours, one name rose above all the chaos: Birdman. Everyone assumed they had just witnessed the exposure of a secret affair between Tamar and Birdman, the Cash Money Records mogul who had recently married Toni Braxton. The logic seemed obvious to viewers. Toni's husband, the timing of the accusation, the way Tamar reacted with such intense emotion, it all seemed to point in one direction. The rumor gained momentum with terrifying speed. Blog after blog picked up the story, each one adding their own speculation and theories. Social media detectives pulled up old photos, analyzed past interviews, constructed elaborate timelines to prove what they were convinced had happened. Commentary videos racked up hundreds of thousands of views. The algorithm loved the drama, and it pushed the content to more and more people. Tamar Braxton found herself at the center of a scandal that threatened everything. Her reputation, her relationship with her sister, her place within the family, all of it hung in the balance based on an accusation made in front of cameras that never blinked. But the truth behind that accusation was nothing like what anyone imagined. And when Tamar finally spoke, what she revealed was so much worse than a simple affair rumor. On December 16th, Tamar walked onto the set of The Sherri Show with a purpose. Host Sherri Shepherd had watched the same episode everyone else had watched. She had seen the social media firestorm, and she knew exactly what question her audience needed answered. She didn't ease into it. She didn't dance around the subject. She asked Tamar directly about the dinner scene that had broken the internet. And Tamar's response cut through weeks of speculation with a single word: preposterous. The way she said it carried the weight of someone who had been watching lies spread about her life while having to wait for the right moment to set the record straight. She asked where that rumor even came from, because from her perspective, the entire narrative was built on a foundation of complete fiction. The 48-year-old singer, the voice behind Love and War and countless other hits, began to dismantle the rumor piece by piece. And what she revealed completely flipped the script on everything people thought they understood about her relationship with Birdman. Tamar had introduced Toni to Birdman. She was the matchmaker, the person who brought them together in the first place. Let that information sink in for a moment, because it changes the entire context of the affair accusations. The man everyone assumed she had betrayed her sister with was someone she had deliberately connected with Toni. She explained that her relationship with Birdman, whose real name is Brian Christopher Williams, went back years before he ever became romantically involved with her older sister. They were genuine friends, real platonic friends, she emphasized, making sure the distinction was crystal clear, the kind of friendship that had absolutely nothing to do with romantic attraction or hidden agendas. Their connection started during a time when Birdman was dating one of Tamar's close friends. After that relationship ran its course and ended, the friendship between Tamar and Birdman continued. But it wasn't random or suspicious. There was a clear professional reason for maintaining that connection. Birdman and his business partner Ronald J. Williams, known in the industry as Slim, wanted to sign Tamar to Cash Money Records. This was ancient history in entertainment industry terms. A business relationship that naturally evolved into genuine friendship, built on mutual respect and shared experiences navigating the music industry. There was nothing scandalous about it, nothing inappropriate, nothing that would give anyone reason to question the nature of their relationship. And then Birdman started expressing interest in someone else. He started asking Tamar about her sister, Toni, the Grammy-winning legend behind Breathe Again and Unbreak My Heart. The sister who had built a career on heartbreak ballads and powerhouse performances. He wanted to know more about her. He wanted an introduction. But there was a significant obstacle standing in the way. Toni was married at the time. She was still with singer Carrie Lewis, her husband of several years and the father of her two sons, Denham and Diesel. The marriage might have been showing cracks, might have been struggling in ways the public couldn't see, but it was still legally intact, and Tamar wasn't about to facilitate anything that crossed ethical boundaries. Her response to Birdman was direct and left no room for interpretation. "You know my sister is married. Please go sit down somewhere." She shut down the conversation before it could go anywhere inappropriate. She set clear boundaries and made it known that whatever interest he had in Toni would need to wait until circumstances changed. And Birdman respected that. He waited. He remained patient. He maintained his friendship with Tamar without pushing the issue or creating awkwardness. And when Toni's marriage to Carrie Lewis officially ended in divorce in 2016, that's when he made his move. He pursued Toni seriously, respectfully, and with genuine intentions. The relationship that developed between Toni and Birdman was complicated from the start. They had been friends for years before romance entered the picture. In February of 2018, Toni announced their engagement, and fans celebrated what seemed like a beautiful love story between two music industry veterans who understood each other's worlds. But the path to their wedding was anything but smooth. They separated not long after the engagement, causing heartbreak for fans who had invested emotionally in their relationship. Eventually, they found their way back to each other and reconciled. And in August of 2024, they quietly got married in a private ceremony, away from the cameras and speculation. What happened next shocked everyone. Just 2 weeks after saying their vows, Toni filed for divorce. Court documents revealed that she listed their separation date as August 20th, 2024. That was only 2 days after they exchanged rings and made promises of forever. 2 days before the marriage imploded. The headlines were relentless. Everyone wanted to know what could have possibly gone so catastrophically wrong in just 48 hours. Speculation ranged from reasonable to absolutely wild. But nobody outside the couple really knew the truth behind the rapid deterioration. Then in January of 2025, another twist. Toni dismissed the divorce petition. Birdman, who is 56 years old, signed off on the dismissal as well. They appeared to be working through whatever crisis had driven them apart so quickly after their wedding. The couple was giving their marriage another chance, trying to build something lasting despite the rocky foundation. Through all of this chaos, through the engagement and breakup and reconciliation and wedding and near divorce and reconciliation again, Tamar maintained a consistent position. Birdman was family, not a former romantic interest, not a source of scandal, not someone she had any complicated history with. Family. "That's my brother," she said during the Sherry interview, and the conviction in her voice was unmistakable. "That's my blood now. He's married to my sister." The respect and genuine affection she expressed when talking about him made it clear that their relationship existed in a completely different category than the one the internet had imagined. So if the Birdman rumor was completely baseless, if Tamar had actually been the architect of his relationship with Toni, if she had maintained appropriate boundaries throughout their entire friendship, then what was Tawanda actually talking about during that explosive dinner scene? What ex-boyfriend was she referring to when she made that accusation on national television? That's where this story stops being about celebrity gossip and becomes something much darker, something that reveals the cost of reality television and the price families pay when cameras become more important than protection. Tamar's entire energy shifted during the Sherry interview when the conversation moved to this part of the story. The defensiveness melted away, replaced by something raw and painful. Because Tawanda's accusation wasn't just false, it was cruel, in ways that go beyond typical sibling conflict or reality show drama. The ex-boyfriend Tawanda referenced wasn't Birdman. It was someone else from Toni's past. And what happened between Tamar and that person wasn't a consensual affair, or a moment of betrayal, or a scandalous secret. It was abuse, plain and simple. Tamar had been victimized by this person, and her family knew it. Her exact words carried years of suppressed pain and anger. Everybody knows that the person she was speaking about was abusive towards me. Everybody knows those 2 words transformed everything about this situation. Because if everybody knew, that meant this wasn't something Tamar had hidden or kept secret out of shame or fear. Her sisters knew. Her family knew. They had all known exactly what happened. And yet Towanda went on national television and framed it as though Tamar had willingly engaged in some kind of inappropriate relationship with one of Toni's former partners. She took a situation where Tamar had been hurt, where she had been taken advantage of, where she had experienced trauma, and twisted it into something that made Tamar look like the villain of the family. Think about the level of cruelty required to make that choice. To know your sister experienced abuse, to have that knowledge for years, and then to use that trauma as a weapon against her when cameras are rolling. To turn her victimization into entertainment for millions of viewers who have no context and no understanding of what really happened. Tamar explained that watching the episode air was devastating on multiple levels. First, because the narrative being presented to the world was a complete distortion of reality. Millions of people were forming opinions about her character based on information that fundamentally misrepresented what had actually occurred. Second, because everyone sitting at that dinner table knew the truth. They knew about the abuse. They knew she hadn't been a willing participant in whatever had transpired with Toni's ex-boyfriend. And they let the accusation stand anyway. They allowed the cameras to capture it, allowed the editors to package it into a dramatic episode, allowed it to air for public consumption without stepping in to correct the record or protect their sister. Consider the implications of Trina's reaction during that dinner scene. She sat there making shocked faces as though she was hearing this explosive information for the first time. Her expressions of surprise and scandal were captured in perfect detail by the cameras. She played her role in the drama exactly as reality television demands, creating moments that would generate social media buzz and drive viewership. But according to Tamar, Trina already knew. She knew about the abuse. She knew the real context behind whatever had happened with Toni's ex-boyfriend. And yet she performed surprise and judgment for the cameras, contributing to the public spectacle of her sister's humiliation. The betrayal extends far beyond a single false accusation. This is about a family choosing ratings and drama over protecting a survivor of abuse. This is about sisters who prioritize their reality show storyline over their sister's dignity, mental health, and truth. This is about the entertainment industry's insatiable appetite for conflict, consuming real trauma and spitting out distorted narratives for profit. Tamar also addressed another moment that had gone viral across social media platforms in the wake of the dinner scene accusation. During a public appearance, she had been filmed on stage wiping sweat off Birdman's face. In the context of affair rumors, that clip became evidence for people determined to prove something inappropriate was happening between them. The comment sections exploded with speculation and accusations, but the actual context was completely innocent. She was there with Birdman at a versus battle because Toni couldn't attend. Tamar was filling in, representing the family, supporting her brother-in-law at an entertainment industry event. The moment of wiping his face was casual and familial, the kind of small gesture that happens between people who genuinely care about each other in a non-romantic way. But once the rumor mill started churning, every interaction became ammunition for a narrative that simply wasn't true. Tamar kept emphasizing that Birdman was her brother now, not just her brother-in-law through legal marriage, but someone she genuinely considered family, someone she had known for years through friendship before romance ever entered the picture with Toni, someone who was now permanently woven into the fabric of their family structure. The idea that she would betray Toni in the way people were suggesting wasn't just inaccurate, it was insulting to both of them. But defending herself against affair rumors was actually the surface level of this situation. The deeper wound, the one that cut to the core, was about her family's willingness to use her trauma as a plot point for their reality show. To take something painful, something that had caused genuine harm, and turn it into entertainment for viewers who treat real people's lives like scripted drama. One of the most disturbing aspects of this entire situation is the weight behind that word Tamar kept repeating. Everybody. Everybody knew about the abuse. Everybody knew the real context of what happened with Toni's ex-boyfriend. Everybody understood that Tamar had been victimized. And yet when the cameras rolled, when the opportunity arose to create compelling television drama, that collective knowledge didn't stop anyone from participating in the spectacle. Towanda made the accusation without providing crucial context. Trina reacted with theatrical shock despite knowing the truth. The production team edited the footage into a cliffhanger moment designed to generate maximum buzz and speculation, and Tawanda was left to deal with the aftermath alone. The online speculation came at her from every direction. The Birdman rumors spread faster than truth ever could. The judgment from strangers who had no idea what actually happened piled up in comment sections and reaction videos. The pain of watching her own family exploit something deeply personal for the sake of reality television ratings. All of it landed on Tamar while her sisters remained silent. Her response during the actual dinner scene makes so much more sense now with this context. She reacted with intense emotion, with anger and hurt that seemed disproportionate to viewers who didn't understand what was really being discussed. But it wasn't disproportionate at all. It was the response of someone who realized in real time that her family was weaponizing her trauma for content, that they were willing to sacrifice her dignity and truth for a viral moment. She said something during that dinner that resonates even more powerfully now. She declared that she wasn't going to be anybody's verbal punching bag anymore. She refused to continue playing the role that had apparently been assigned to her within the family dynamic, the scapegoat, the one who could be attacked and blamed while everyone else maintained their carefully curated images. And that's when she brought up the book, the tell-all memoir that could change everything. Tamar revealed that she was seriously considering writing a detailed account of her experiences within the Braxton family. Because Pandora's box had already been opened, she explained. The conversation had started. The truth was beginning to emerge into public view. And if she was going to be subjected to public scrutiny based on distorted narratives created by her own family, she might as well tell the complete story herself, in her own words, without editing or manipulation or reality show production tricks. The threat of that book has to be terrifying for the rest of the Braxton family, because if Tamar has been holding back information all these years, if she has been protecting people who clearly haven't been protecting her in return, then what else might be revealed in those pages? What other family secrets might be exposed to public scrutiny? What other moments of dysfunction, manipulation, abuse, or betrayal might come to light? And how might those revelations impact the carefully constructed public image the Braxtons have built over years of reality television? The brand they've created is built on the idea of complicated but ultimately unbreakable sisterhood. The concept that no matter how much they fight, no matter how dramatic things get, they always come back together because family is everything. But is that brand sustainable when the foundation underneath is this fractured and compromised? During her interview with Sherry Shepherd, Tamar also addressed where things currently stood with her sisters, and her assessment was surprisingly optimistic given everything she had just revealed about betrayal and weaponized trauma. She said they were in a healthy space. She claimed that everyone had taken accountability for their roles in what happened, both publicly and privately. She suggested the family was now focused on healing, whatever that might look like moving forward. But how do you reconcile those statements with everything else? How do you claim to be in a healthy space with people who weaponized your trauma for television ratings? How do you talk about accountability when sisters who knew about your abuse still participated in framing you as a villain for entertainment purposes? How do you heal from that level of betrayal? The disconnect between those claims of health and healing and the reality of what happened is jarring. And it raises serious questions about what healing actually looks like in a family this deeply dysfunctional and this permanently on camera. Is it genuine forgiveness arrived at through difficult conversations and real emotional work? Or is it a necessity for the sake of the family business, since all of their livelihoods are tied to maintaining some version of unity for the cameras? Is it a survival mechanism, a way to cope with relationships that are too complicated and too entangled to fully separate from? Or is it the latest chapter in a cycle that will inevitably repeat itself when the next season needs drama and someone decides to open old wounds for content? Tamar mentioned that the only way out is through, that they had to go through the difficult moments, the painful confrontations, the public airing of grievances and secrets in order to get to the other side. But what is the other side in a family like this? Is it real reconciliation where trust is rebuilt and boundaries are respected? Or is it just a temporary ceasefire until the next dramatic storyline is needed and someone decides that ratings matter more than protection? The pattern within the Braxton family has been well established over years of reality television content. They fight with intensity that seems genuine because it usually is. They make accusations that cut deep. They cry real tears over real hurt. They make up and declare their love for each other, and then the cycle repeats itself. The cameras keep rolling through all of it. The episodes keep airing season after season. The family keeps profiting from their dysfunction while viewers consume it as entertainment. And somewhere in the middle of all that content creation and profit generation, real pain gets trivialized. Real trauma gets transformed into storylines and cliffhangers. Real abuse gets reframed as scandal and gossip for viewers to debate in comment sections. Tamar mentioned that this particular season of The Braxtons had been especially spicy and dramatic. Sherry Shepard noted that watching it had caused her genuine anxiety because she loved all the sisters and hated seeing them in such painful conflict. The explosive dinner scene had almost turned physical. There were accusations about stolen money flying between sisters. There were confrontations that seemed to push the family dynamic to the absolute breaking point. But this accusation, this weaponization of abuse that everyone knew about, might represent the lowest point the family has reached yet, because it crosses a line that should never be crossed. It takes something that should be protected with fierce loyalty, something that should be handled with care and sensitivity and privacy, and turns it into entertainment for millions of strangers to consume and judge. It prioritizes shock value and viral moments over the well-being of a family member who has already been victimized once. And then everyone acts surprised and defensive when that family member finally says enough, when she draws a line and threatens to tell her complete story without the careful editing and narrative manipulation of reality television producers. So where does the Braxton family go from here? The foundation has cracks that might be too deep to repair. Tamar has drawn a clear line in the sand. She has made it known that she will not continue to be the family punching bag, the one who absorbs attacks while everyone else maintains their image. She has threatened to write that tell-all book to share her full story unfiltered and uncensored in a way that could fundamentally change the public's perception of the entire family. She has also revealed information that should change how viewers understand the dynamics within this family. This isn't just celebrity drama or reality show antics designed to boost ratings. This is about a woman who experienced abuse and then had that abuse weaponized against her by the very people who should have been protecting her from further harm. The Braxton sisters have built an entire brand on their sisterhood, on the idea that blood is thicker than water, that family always comes first, that no matter how intense the fights get, they will always find their way back to each other. But is that narrative sustainable when the foundation is this fractured? When trust has been broken in such a fundamental way? When trauma has been exploited for profit? Toni and Birdman are still navigating their incredibly complicated marriage. They filed for divorce just days after their wedding, then reconciled months later. That relationship adds yet another layer of complexity to the already tangled family dynamic, especially given the false rumors that briefly made Tamar the villain in their story. The rumors that painted her as someone who would betray her sister in the most intimate way possible, when the truth was that she had been the matchmaker who brought them together. Tawanda and Trina have remained largely silent since Tamar's revelations on The Sherry Show. They haven't issued public statements addressing the accusation that they knew about the abuse and participated in the spectacle anyway. They haven't offered apologies or explanations for their roles in what happened at that dinner table. They haven't acknowledged the harm caused by allowing a distorted narrative to play out on national television. And Tamar is left making a decision about how much more of her story she wants to share with the world. The book remains a possibility, a threat hanging over the family like a storm cloud that could break open at any moment. If she decides to write it, if she decides to pull back the curtain completely and reveal everything she's been protecting all these years, the Braxton family as the public knows it might never be the same. The carefully curated image could shatter. Loyalties could shift as viewers reevaluate everything they thought they understood about the family dynamic. Business opportunities could evaporate if the dysfunction becomes too dark for brands to associate with. The entire empire built on sisterhood could crumble. The tragedy in all of this is that it didn't have to happen this way. The conversation about what happened with Toni's ex-boyfriend could have been handled privately, within the family, with the care and sensitivity that discussing abuse requires. The trauma could have been acknowledged and addressed without becoming fodder for reality television drama. Tamar's experience could have been protected instead of exploited. But that's not the choice that was made. The decision was made to prioritize content over care, to choose dramatic television moments over protecting a family member who had already been hurt, to weaponize trauma for ratings and profit. And now everyone involved has to live with the consequences of that choice. Tamar Braxton has made it absolutely clear that she is done being silent about what happened to her. She's done accepting blame and judgment for things that were not her fault. She's done allowing her family to profit from her pain while she carries the burden of their secrets. She's done playing the role of scapegoat in a family narrative that has never served her well-being. Whether the Braxton sisters can actually heal from this level of betrayal, whether they can move forward in a genuine and healthy way, remains to be seen. The path to real reconciliation would require accountability that goes beyond whatever private conversations may have happened. It would require public acknowledgement of the harm that was done. It would require a fundamental shift in how the family operates and what they're willing to sacrifice for entertainment value. But one thing is absolutely certain at this point. The illusion of the unbreakable Braxton sisterhood has been shattered into pieces. The carefully edited reality television footage that portrayed their conflicts as ultimately superficial and always reconcilable can't put it back together. The brand built on complicated but loyal sisterhood has been exposed as something much darker underneath. The truth is out now, spoken in Tamar's own words on national television. The abuse that everyone knew about but nobody protected. The weaponization of trauma for ratings and drama. The betrayal by the people who should have been her strongest defenders. The choice to prioritize entertainment over the well-being of a family member who had already been victimized once. And it's darker than anyone watching from the outside could have imagined. Because it's not about affairs or jealousy or typical sibling rivalry blown up for cameras. It's about abuse being used as a plot point. It's about trauma being transformed into entertainment. It's about a family choosing profit over protection. And it's about one woman finally saying enough and threatening to reveal everything if that's what it takes to reclaim her story. The Braxton family will never be the same after this. And maybe that's exactly what needed to happen.